You ever have one of those dreams, the kind that feels so incredibly real until it just takes this dark, bizarre turn? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're going to explore a really strange vision from a 19th century priest, Don Bosco. It's a dream that starts out in this, beautiful, peaceful vineyard, but it ends with a storm of what can only be described as divine vengeance. So picture this. Don Bosco is just having a calm evening with his fellow priests. They're admiring the church. And then, just like that, everything he knows, poof, it's gone. It just vanishes. And in its place, an old, unfamiliar shed. And that's when he knows the dream has started.
And then, something pretty much impossible happens. A single vine just erupts from the ground, and it's growing at this, supernatural speed. Within moments, its shoots are spreading out everywhere, and this empty space just transforms into a huge, sprawling vineyard.
And the fruit on this vine? Wow. It was unlike anything these guys had ever seen. The grapes were just enormous, perfectly golden. They were so big that a single one would have been a mouthful. They looked like they represented some kind of divine promise, Just absolutely perfect in every single way.
Okay, but this is where the whole thing starts to get weird, where the mystery really kicks in. You've got this perfect-looking fruit, right? So naturally, one of the priests, a guy named Father Caro, he decides to try one. And his reaction is, let's just say it was not what anyone expected.
He spits it out immediately. That beautiful, perfect-looking grape, it tasted like pure rot. It was so vile that he actually yells out it was enough to kill a man. Can you just imagine the shock? Everyone is just standing there completely speechless.
So this right here becomes the central question of the dream. How could something that looks so beautiful be so rotten on the inside? And just as Don Bosco is thinking about this, a guide shows up.
A very serious-looking man walks out of an old chapel and just approaches the group. He doesn't say hi, he doesn't offer any explanation. Instead, he gives them a very strange and honestly disturbing command. Yeah, he holds out this well-knotted stick to Don Bosco's friends and tells them to thrash the vine. And I don't mean prune it, I mean beat it, knock it down. And as you can probably guess, this does not go over well.
Nope. One by one, they all refuse. Father Savio steps back. Father Cesia says no. And Father Caro, remember him, the one who tasted the rotten grape? He's so scared he literally hides. You can just feel the tension building as even Father Rua takes refuge behind Don Bosco himself.
So since nobody's willing to strike the vine, the guide decides it's time to reveal its true nature. He tells Don Bosco to look closer, to really see the secret that this whole vineyard is hiding right there in plain sight. First thing, he points to the leaves, and written on them is this really chilling question from the Gospel of Luke. The one about a fruitless tree that's just taking up space. It's a pretty clear sign of judgment, but believe me, the worst is still yet to come. So the guide then tells Don Bosco, hey, come here and read what's written on the grapes. And this is the moment where the dream's horrifying symbolism becomes crystal clear.
This is it. This is the core of the whole vision. Each one of those beautiful golden grapes has the name of one of Don Bosco's own pupils on it, followed by their biggest sin. Sins like pride, being two-faced, sacrilege. Wow. The beautiful outside of the vineyard is hiding the inner corruption of these souls. The whole thing is a metaphor for his school, and those rotten grapes, they're his students.
So after this terrible secret is out in the open, the dream starts moving towards a pretty violent climax. The guide offers the stick again, but this time he offers it to Father Rua, who just looks over at Don Bosco like he's asking for permission. And Don Bosco gives him a nod of approval. So Father Rua takes the stick and strikes the vine just once. And that one single blow, that's all it takes. The guide immediately yells for everyone to step back. And with that one strike, divine fury is just unleashed. The sky goes dark with lightning, a furious wind just rips through and strips the vine completely bare. And then comes a hailstorm so terrifying, Don Bosco says he'd never seen anything like it in his life. But even as all this divine punishment is happening, the guide's not done. Nope. There's one last, really crucial lesson that Don Bosco needs to learn, and it comes from the storm itself. He tells Don Bosco to look at the hail, and these aren't normal hailstones. They're the size of eggs, but they're shaped like mallets, and they come in two very distinct colors, black and red. So the guide tells Don Bosco to actually pick them up, and they give off this just awful smell. On the black ones, he reads the word immodesty, and on the red ones, which by the way burst into flame wherever they land, he finds the word pride. And that's when the guide delivers his final, really stark warning. He says pride and immodesty, those are the two main vices that ruin most souls, and not just in Don Bosco school, but all over the entire world. So the dream ends with this scene of just utter devastation. The grapes are totally crushed, and the juice is giving off this sickening stench that's so foul Don Bosco just can't stand it. He turns to run and suddenly realizes he's completely alone, which scares him so much that he wakes up. And that's actually how Don Bosco finishes the story in his memoirs. A truly terrifying vision, right? A powerful lesson about hidden sin. But then he leaves us with this insane cliffhanger. He says that as bad as this dream was, the one he had the very next night was even worse. It just leaves you wondering, doesn't it? What on earth could possibly be worse than that?